I mean, the other thing is that I even talked about is there are different ways of approaching singing. This is my way of approaching singing. On one end of the pole are people who sing, who care primarily or exclusively about the way they sound, like an instrument. They think of themselves like an instrument. Ella Fitzgerald was mostly that kind of a singer for most of her life. I mean, she was a genius singer. I loved Ella Fitzgerald. But she wasn't my favorite singer. Because she was mostly concerned about the musical end of things. And she was so great at it that she was wonderful to listen to. I listened to her, I heard her live, and I mean, she was fantastically great. But she wasn't connected to the lyrics. Till the very end of her life she did sometimes. Mostly she was thinking about herself like an instrument. The lyrics weren't part of her consciousness. It was the musical, the melody, the rhythm, the harmonies, those kinds of things. And in many areas of music, that's the main concern. I would say in opera, historically, the main concern is the sound I'm making. Am I making a big enough, beautiful enough sound? The words, that's secondary to me. There was one of my favorite singers, actually, was a great opera singer, Australian opera singer named Joan Sutherland. Sorry, Joan. R.I.P. She was the most beautiful voice I ever heard, I think. And she was a lovely person, and she was a great, great, great star. But she used to say, she didn't even pretend to be acting. She used to say, if you want to see acting, go to a play. Which I thought was hilarious. She didn't even pretend to be acting. She said, that's not what I do. I make sound. That's one end of the pole. The other end of the pole are people who are concerned exclusively or primarily about the text. The lyric, and what the lyric is, the human event of the song. Because when people write songs, great songwriters, lyricists, and composers, they're great dramatists. What they're thinking about, by and large, I would say this is true of almost all, including opera writers. Opera writers, pop rock, Broadway, all writers of songs primarily are dramatists. They're thinking about a human being in a situation with a problem to solve, just the way I said it. There's some kind of interesting thing going on in their life in a great way or a terrible way. And the human being dealing with a trauma or a conflict. They're dramatists. Often, the people that do the most work on the acting are the writers, as opposed to the singers. I always say, you got to do as much work on this acting as the composers did. They were thinking about a human being in a situation. Be that human being. Find this issue in your own life and bring it to life. Let me see you deal with this. Let me see you deal with it. Is this a song about you're in love with somebody who's not in love with you? I want to see who you are in that situation. Find that issue in your own life, in your imagination, and use the song to fix that. Is this a song where you're trying to comfort somebody that you love, who's in terrible pain? Find that in your own life. Let me see what you look like comforting somebody who you love who's in pain, etc. Whatever the human situation is. So my way of working is concerned about the text.
Amazing. You talked straight for 51 minutes.
Oh, Jesus. Is that how long we did that?